Hi, and welcome to Fusion 360. I'm Ed Robledo, part of the Fusion 360 family, to inform you about the new and improved features in Fusion 360 electronics. I'm very excited to inform you about the first Fusion 360 extension being added, targeting our Fusion 360 electronic users. This has been requested for some time, and thanks to our partnership with Ansys, it's become a reality. Let's get started. The demand for connected technology is exponentially growing, and innovators need the right tools to get the required design insight to get their products to market faster with the possibility of fewer resources. Many connected designs require the need of high-speed signals on their transmission lines. These traces need specific properties to avoid signal degradation. Impedance matching is one of those most common variables used. The new Fusion 360 electronic extension is called Signal Integrity, and it's powered by Ansys. Our long-standing partnership with Ansys has enabled us to reimagine the visualization of signal integrity directly on the circuit board workspace. You will now be able to analyze signals and get pertinent information for your high-speed transmission lines. After activating it from the Simulation tab, select the signal you wish to analyze and input your target impedance. The results will provide a color overlay indicating the impedance behavior on the selected transmission and a legend indicating your range. The analysis panel will include additional details such as length, time delay, inductance, capacitance, and much more. Please visit the link on the description to learn more about this latest extension. This other highly requested feature has made it. Use the arrow keys to move selected assets. That's right. You will no longer solely depend on moving components using your mouse. If you are like me on fine grids, it would take me many tries to get it right. With this new feature, I can place the assets as close as possible and then use my arrow keys to move them exactly where I need them. This new feature does work with the primary as well as their alternate grid. This will not only help you save time, but improve your design experience. In our most recent updates, we've introduced inferencing as well as placement using patterns or arranging a group of selected assets. Inferencing helps you reference certain nearby assets while working on your design. We have now combined this feature to include inferencing into the pattern and the arrange command. This will simplify finding the origin asset pattern in the schematic and the board. This time-saving feature will help you avoid having to calculate grid point coordinates for your arrange assets. Now, let's go ahead and go to the library editor of Fusion 360 Electronics. Libraries are the building blocks of all electronic designs, and because of that, we're always looking to improve or streamline your design experience. While creating custom libraries, it could sometimes take a long time to build up all the required symbols or maybe footprints or devices from scratch to reuse individual devices assets at a time. With this time-saving feature update, it's now possible to reuse multiple pre-made assets from other libraries simultaneously. To give this a go, navigate to the Import Component option within the library editor. Then choose all the required parts from another library. In moments, all the components are ported into your custom library, ready to be customized or extended to meet your design needs. In the PCB Workspace, in a recent update, we introduced flat caps to the line command and recently to the route command. With flat cap options, you can define T connections on traces with different wire widths without undesirable hump artifacts that could possibly degrade your transmission line signals. In this update, you're going to notice that the route command has been updated to support flat caps at the connecting points. It's no longer necessary to draw overlapping traces to avoid rounded joints. This time-saving feature will help you avoid having to do workaround workflows to get the needed trace end cap. We're going to continue working on the PCB Workspace. And you may remember that in earlier releases, we added a brand new layer stackup manager, which empowers you to assign specific properties to your layers, such as dielectric properties, thickness, width, and many more. Assigning these properties within your PCB composition allows you to get more accurate results when simulating your board, for instance, equally. For this update, you're going to notice that we have added layer stacker properties for your silkscreen layers. Silkscreen is a layer of ink trace used to identify components, test point, parts of the PCB, warning symbols, logos, marks, and more. Since the silkscreen ink is not conductive, it can damage the quality of electrical contacts when it mistakenly protrudes into solder mask clearances, resulting in the scrapping of assembled boards if the flaw is not identified during the electrical testing. Creating high fidelity layer stacks makes it easier to detect possible defects far earlier in the design process. I will remain here on the PCB Workspace to tell you more about our updates. Rip-up is the command traditionally used to eliminate traces but keeps the signal connection. For this update, we have decided to rename the command to Unrout it to provide our users a better design experience on the PCB Workspace. In addition to the rename, we have made some modifications to the panel to make it so much easier to understand the upsides, besides including a brand new incomplete option. This option will eliminate harmful humps left by existing traces and eliminates trace lines that are not completed. It saves you so much time since you no longer have to find them manually. On the PCB Workspace, a via is commonly used as a point of transition on a trace on the board, but it can be used for more than that. Sometimes we use them for stitching or as shields or as a test point. You might remember that in our previous update, the via command can now be placed on the board and the violator modes were respected. Our team of engineers has kept working with vias, and the dialog box for vias has now been improved in this update. You will now notice that the dialog box includes a name field. Type in a new name for your via or select one from the autocomplete list. This time-saving feature will help you select your via signal name without having to search around your design for the correct name. Our team of developers continues to work diligently on improving your PCB design workspace experience. And this next update better synchronizes your 2D and your 3D model workspaces. See, the solder mask is a thin lacquer-like layer of polymer that is usually applied to a PCB board to protect against oxidation and prevent solder bridges from forming between solder pads. Sometimes it's helpful to place text on the solder mask layers, such as writing on large copper areas without using the silkscreen layer. In this update, the text applied to the solder mask layer will now appear on the 3D model of your PCB, improving on a more realistic look of your circuit board in the 3D model. There are many more updates that improve stability and performance, but we wanted to highlight those that you will notice the most. Please make sure to join our Fusion 360 Electronics forum to learn more of these updates and get more information on the new Fusion 360 Electronics Signal Integrity extension. Thank you for joining us. All this and more with Fusion 360.